This episode of The Inspiration Show is so special because today's guest is someone I have looked up to for so many years. She is an angel with the voice of an angel. I am so excited to welcome a queen to the podcast. She starred as multiple queens in Six the Musical and is currently gracing the stage as the Queen of Mean, Miss Regina George, at the Cape Playhouse. I am so honored to welcome the incredibly talented Caroline Siegrist to the Inspiration Show. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here. So I want to start at the very beginning. When
Okay.
did you discover that you had a passion for singing and for theater?
So I was probably about 7 or 8 years old, I think. And I watched the movie version of The Phantom of the Opera. And no one in my family was artistic at all. Like my mom was a basketball coach, my mom and my dad were both like bankers, and no one in any side of the family had a creative background. And I watched that movie and I just like fell in love. I was walking around the house like singing Think of Me. And my mom, I think at that point was like, oh, I should probably get her into some voice lessons. It's actually a really funny story. One of the longest running Phantoms on Broadway. His name is Frank D'Ambrosio. He was doing this touring concert, and he was stopping in. I'm from Indiana, and he was coming through Indiana, and in every city he would do this search for his Christine to sing with him at his concert. And he would like post about it in the newspaper, and they'd have auditions and whatnot. And I was 7, I think, at the time, and my grandma sent it to my mom and was like, "Oh, Caroline loves Phantom. She should do this." And my mom was like, "She's 7. He doesn't want a 7-year-old to be his Christine. That would be creepy." And but my voice teacher was like, I wouldn't practice. I was a pretty nervous kid. I didn't like singing in front of people. And my voice teacher thought it would be a good opportunity for me to like get some confidence, get some reps in. And so I like put the songs on tape. We sent them in, like truly didn't expect to hear anything. And he let me come in and sing for him. And then obviously I wasn't his Christine. That would be weird. But he let me come sing at his concert, which was so sweet. So that was like my very first thing that I ever did. So Phantom has a very special place in my heart. And honestly, from then on, I just kept up with lessons. And then I eventually started dancing and adding in all the rest. But
Oh, what a story. I mean, it always comes back to Phantom. Like those opening notes are life-changing. And like I
true.
knew that story and I remember reading that story for the first time and just I'm obsessed with like full circles. When things come
Mhm.
full circle for people, like it just makes me the happiest. So I knew that story, but I didn't know you were 7 at the time.
Yeah, I
That's
think by the
crazy.
time that concert rolled around, I had just turned 8. But yeah, still, it was. And if the
Wow.
video, my mom has a video of me at the concert, and I'm just like looking down the whole time. And then I finish singing, and finally I like look up, and um, it's a very sweet memory for me. I love it.
Oh, that is so special. So what really inspired you to become a performer and who has been an inspiration of yours throughout your incredible career?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, well, so that happened for me. And then honestly, maybe that same year, my brother started acting. And so he has always been a huge inspiration for me. He's a brilliant actor. But for my own like theater inspirations, I love like Kelly O'Hara. I think she's brilliant. I love Eva Blazada. I think she's amazing. I think it's such a cool time for theater right now. We have such strong female voices to look at. Like Joy Woods is really having her moment. I think she's amazing. Um, but Kelly O'Hara, like Light in the Piazza is my favorite musical. So she's probably
Oh,
my OG girl.
I would kill to see you in that show. That show is already so good, but I would kill to see you in that show.
I would love to do that show.
So I know we just touched on it, but I do kind of want to dive into it more because of my love for obviously Phantom and Full Circles. So your love of the arts began when you saw Phantom for the first time, and then that dream kind of came to reality when you got to do the concert. So could you take us back to the day you first experienced Phantom of the Opera and what it felt like to come full circle performing in Frank's concert?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't even know. I think because I was such a shy kid and didn't know how to express myself at all, when I saw that movie and heard all that music and just started singing, like the feeling of being able to express myself through my voice and not having to like, that brought me a sense of confidence that I wouldn't have been able to find on my own, like being able to step into that world. And then I think maybe the first like actual live performance I saw was maybe like Wicked, like on the national tour. And I remember just being like jaw on the floor. I saw it with my mom and one of my really good friends at the time. I was maybe like 10 or 11. And I mean, there's no feeling like live theater. And like I said, as such an introverted kid, I really needed the arts to like bring me out of my shell and so I'm just really grateful for it, especially that concert. I look back and like I said, I was looking down the whole time and I don't look up and you can just see how happy I look when I finally look up at the end. And it's truly had such a positive impact on me over my childhood, of course, but every single contract that I do, I notice such a positive impact on me. And whether it's something challenging that really pushes me and I'm like, oh, I really grew from that, or it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm meeting these amazing people, or it's just, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like the arts.
Yeah. I always say, coming back to what you said, like the impact that theater has on you is so
Mm.
special. And then when you get to realize like the work that you do and the impact that it has on other people, like especially being an introverted kid, like the first national tour I did, it was a kids musical. And like when I would come out to the stage door and like I'd see the little kids with like that glimmer in their eye
Yeah,
and like you never know like if that was their first show and like that show made them fall in love with theater and maybe they'll be on Broadway one day. Like I
exactly.
always think that it's so special that like when you get to see how theater changes you as a person, but it changes the people that are out in the audience, it's such a special thing to get to be a part of.
100%. Yeah.
So you've brought so many beloved stories to life in regional theater productions such as Grease, Wizard of Oz, Music Man, Little Mermaid, and so many more. Which regional theater productions have been the most memorable for you? And could you share a couple standout moments?
Yeah, of course. I mean, honestly, I'm not even being biased, but Mean Girls is really gonna be up there for me, I
Oh
think.
yeah.
This is probably one of my favorite roles I've ever played, and I love being in Cape Cod. I think it's amazing. But I just spent last summer at North Shore Music Theater, which isn't that far from here. We're doing Grease. I met some of my best friends doing that show. It was so much fun. And Grease is so silly and fun, and you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. And we actually had a car that would drive onto the stage, and North Shore's in the round. So we would like come up out of the vom, and it had very little turn radius. So we were really like doing like a 12-point turn trying to get this car on the stage. I mean, it was a really, really cool car, but it was a struggle for us actors out there. We had some good laughs about that one, but that was a great show. I loved that one. Wizard of Oz is actually, I did that at the regional theater near where I grew up. It's called Derby Dinner Playhouse. And I mean, this is maybe a whole other story, but that show, I was at the time going to Indiana University. I was studying business and I came home for the summer following my freshman year and I did Wizard of Oz as like my summer job, like just as a fun way to make money. And that show is what made me realize that I needed to come to the city and that I wanted to pursue a career in theater. And so I ended up actually during that show, I took a gap year from school and then moved to the city. And it's a long story, but that show is really, really special to me. I just don't think I mean, I know I wouldn't be here now if I hadn't done that show. So, and who doesn't love Wizard of Oz? It's such a classic.
Such a classic. And I mean like Sandy, Dorothy, like classic roles, classic shows.
Mhm.
And it when you do the classics like that, I feel like it always reminds you why you fell in love with theater in the
Yeah.
first place. And like it's just such a special feeling. Out of all the roles you stepped into regionally, are there a few that particularly stand out to you for specific reasons?
I mean, going off kind of what I just said, I think Dorothy is a big one for that reason, because it really made me make a 180 career change kind of thing. I mean, not that I I always knew that this was what I wanted to do. I think I just school wise, I was going to college during the pandemic, so I think that had a lot to do with me not going to school for theater, but all that to say, Dorothy is a big one for me. Um, Regina has honestly given me so much confidence. I mean, I'm not gonna be a mean girl or anything. I'm not saying that,
Yeah.
but but I'm taking the bits from her that I have found I just really admire like her confidence, and it's been so much fun playing her. And I think I usually play like the sweeter, like Sandy's, the Dorothy's, the Ariels, like the more like um ingenue type
Yeah.
roles. So this is my first time ever playing the like mean character. So I think I'm taking away a lot of her. I hope I'm taking away a lot of her confidence and
Yeah.
none of the mean parts.
And that is so fun to finally get to step into. Like,
It's
I don't want to say like typecast, but I feel like I know for like my perspective too, as an actor, like you have your typecast sometimes, and then
Mhm.
when you get to step out of that, it's like a whole new world, and it's like, whoa, I didn't know
Yeah,
you could do that. And I feel like you learn so much as a person and as an actor, and it's just so fun to kind of flip it on its head and do something that you've never done before.
totally.
So I'm so excited to dive into this next session because you have had such a special journey with Six the Musical, bringing
Mhm.
the queendom across the world in the North American tour and out on the seas with the Norwegian Cruise Line. So your Six journey began aboard the Norwegian Cruise Line in the sixth Breakaway Cruise production, where you portrayed the role of Katherine Howard. So, what was your experience like stepping into this iconic and beloved show and character and getting to perform on a cruise ship?
I love Six so much. Let me just start off by saying that show means like
Oh,
everything.
good.
After I left school that summer doing Wizard of Oz, I like spent maybe 6 months saving up money to move to New York. And when I moved in, I think it was January of like 2023, I was so clueless. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know how to go about this. In hindsight, it was probably a very impulsive and maybe not super smart decision. But my friend sent me this open call for Six on Norwegian. And she was like, this will be a great show for you to be in one day. She was like, it's really low stakes. Like, just like go. It'll be a good experience. It'll teach you about how auditions work. You just have to sing a pop song. I think that's what I found really comforting was like, you didn't need a book. You didn't need to have like anything incredibly hard to put together. Like, you just had to find 16 bars of a pop song. And I think it started as a tape, maybe too. And so I taped my song, and then I eventually ended up going in person, and I just kept going through the process. And I hadn't seen, I think I saw the show after I taped for it for the first time. I like knew the soundtrack, of course.
Yeah.
We all love it. It's so
Yeah.
good. Um, and I finally saw the show, and it was just incredible. I saw it with my mom, and I don't think I actually ended up hearing for a couple months. The process happened pretty quickly in January, and then I don't think I heard that I had booked it until maybe like end of April, beginning of May. So I had kind of decided that I didn't get it, but that was never I was like, this is going to be a great experience. I'm learning a lot. This is a really good intro to my like audition life in the city. And then, of course, April rolls around and I find out that I got it. And it, Six on the cruise, especially, like that was my first big contract, really. And playing Howard, I love that role. And I had a really, really good group of queens out there on the sea with me. And I had never been to Europe. We spent most of the time on the cruise sailing through the Mediterranean. And so we were in Greece and Italy and France and waking up every day to see Europe out the window and then at night getting to do a show like Six. It was such an amazing experience. So that was the cruise. And actually, while we're here, our my choreographer on the cruise, her name is Betty Weinberger, and she is the associate director and choreographer here at Mean Girls. So I hadn't
No
worked
way.
with her since the cruise, which that has just been such a treat. I love her. She's the best. But so again, another full circle moment. But
I love the theater world. I
it's
love the way it works
small,
sometimes. It's the
right?
best.
It
Uh,
really is.
and what
But
was
then
that? What was that
No, you
experience like? Living on a cruise, like that versatility that it teaches you as an actor, like it blows my mind.
It is a very, very different experience working on a cruise ship than it is working on land. Of course. I mean, that kind of
Yeah.
goes without saying, but I mean, we do a lot of, well, let me start over. We do a lot of just standing in six, just standing, planting, and obviously a boat is gonna rock.
Yeah.
And the standing, it's not the dancing, because we're doing a lot of dancing in six too. That's not tricky when the boat is rocking. It's just the trying to plant and hold still. And I remember there's this one part in the show where Jane Seymour is giving this monologue before Heart of Stone, and we're all just standing, watching her and listening. And pretty much every night, that would be the point of the show where we would all just watch our bodies like sway from side to side. And I mean, there would be nights when it was so rocky because we had to do like a transatlantic crossing, and I mean, we would be like seasick trying to sing about our history mix, and but those are a lot of negatives. But it was truly such an amazing introduction. Two of my best friends I met, they played Aragon and Catherine Parr. And one of them lives in London now, and she's been doing the UK tour of six for like ages. She's amazing. And that show, again, it's every show that I do. You get a little more confidence. You learn something from every character. Howard taught me so much about myself. And I'll always look back at my time on the cruise very fondly. And truthfully, you get a mixed bag about people working on cruise ships, which is very
Yeah.
valid because it's a weird experience, but I loved it. I think the traveling was amazing. I loved the show. Yeah, I have nothing but positive things to say about my time with Norwegian. It was very, very fun.
It's so special when you get to bring theater to the seas because I know like sometimes it's quite inaccessible for people to go
Yeah.
to New York and like see shows on Broadway or like if a tour isn't passing through their city. So I think it's really cool that like when they get to go on a cruise, they can get a little taste of Broadway. And I just think that is so,
Yes.
so awesome. So you then went from one queen to three as you became an alternate for the roles of Seymour, Howard, and Parr on the 2024-2025 North American Boleyn Tour. So can you walk us through your journey of stepping into the role as an alternate and learning the roles of Seymour and Parr and how taking on three different queens kind of changed your perspective of the show?
It was hard enough learning six as one track.
Yeah.
Like I remember for Norwegian, we probably had like a month to learn the show, and I felt like a nervous wreck. It was so much dancing. And you never leave the stage in that show. It's just everyone is on stage. You're constantly singing, even when it's not your solo, you're still doing like backup dancing, backup vocals. You're always on. And the process for just learning my track as Kay Howard was enough. And so when I found out I got the tour as an alternate, I mean, I was thrilled. I was so excited. Because every time you like when I finished the cruise, I didn't know if I would ever do six again. Um, but those shows, they always have a way of coming back to you.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I was so excited when I found out I booked the tour. And it was hard. It was really hard learning all three. They do a good job of kind of spoon feeding you your tracks. So you'll start out as I remember the first maybe like 1 or 2 weeks, I only thought about Seymour. They were like, do not think about any of your other tracks, just focus on Seymour. And slowly, as I would have, we called them like put ins, as you know, I would have
Yeah.
my put in for Seymour, and then I'd be able to move on to, I think I learned Howard after that, which going to Howard from Seymour, I was like, oh, I got this piece of cake. And so I had a little bit of less time with her. I think they maybe gave me like a week or so to do Howard, and then I had my put in. And then I think I learned Parr. By that point, sometimes it's pretty common to learn a track from the dance captain and the stage manager. So I learned Parr in, I think, a day from my dance captain and my stage manager, which was crazy. And then that was one of the first tracks I debuted also, but it took a couple months before the girls were calling out, really. So even though I learned the track in a day, I probably had a month to do my own homework and run through everything and make sure I really had it ready to go. But we had five alternates on the road with six, which is, I mean, you've pretty much got a whole set of queens right there. And so we had a lot of coverage. We weren't going on all the time. And I think that's what made it super nerve-wracking. I think in my entire time on tour, I mean, I did Howard quite a bit and I did Seymour quite a bit, but there were three of us that covered Parr. So I only did that track maybe 4 or 5 times. So every time I would go on, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what's gonna come out. I don't know if I remember. It's always fine. Like, I think the thing about covering is you just have to trust that you've done the work, you've done the homework, you have to trust that it's there, and you just kind of need to let muscle memory kick in and take over. Because if you think too much about what you're doing, I think you end up just setting yourself up not to fail, but you're bound to make mistakes. Like
Yeah.
it's part of the job. It's part of the job, even when you're not an alternate. More than anything, they just want you to make it so they can keep the show going. So they don't, you know what I mean? That's our job as alternates. It's not to be perfect. And that was a really hard thing for me to learn. Because we're all perfectionists as artists. We want to do our best. And I think that was a hard lesson for sure. But it taught me, I mean, it taught me so much. It really did. It made me a stronger performer. Um, and I'm really grateful for my time on that tour. We went to some really cool cities, which I loved. We finished off in Hawaii for the first year, which was insane. And like I said, I mean, I thought that that was my end of six when I finished that in June of 2025. And then just this past April, I mean, I don't know if we'll get into that. I might be beating you to your next
Yeah.
question.
Yes, yes.
but
Oh,
but I
yeah,
ended up rejoining again, which was awesome and amazing.
yeah, no, that journey that you've had is so special. Like I know Andrea McCassett and like just knowing all of the queens that the love that they bring to this show. And I mean, I admire your journey with the show so much because doing it on a cruise and then when you got to do it on tour, I assume there were like very slight changes, I assume, from the cruise because obviously when you do a show on sea versus
Yeah.
land and then having to kind of take those tweaks and then go from one queen to
Mhm.
three like, what a journey you had. Like, Swing Nation is the backbone of theater. But
Yeah,
when you're doing three queens in a show where the queens never leave the stage, that's insane. That is insane.
it
Like, I
was tough.
always love asking my swing friends, did you ever have that moment where it's like, I'm on as this queen today. I don't know my next line, but I know their next line. Like, did you ever have those moments?
Oh my gosh, of course. I mean, I think there was a week where I was on as like Howard multiple times in a row, and then randomly the next day I had to go on as Seymour. And I'm pretty sure I actually said an Aragon line instead of any of my tracks. I don't even cover Aragon. But I was having one of those moments. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what my next line is. And I was like, oh, that sounds like something I would say. And it was not one of my lines for sure, but it was fine. Everyone's a pro. Everyone keeps the ball rolling and it ended
Yeah.
up being okay. But I mean, I think I had to do a mid-show swing on
Oh my
as
God.
Howard, which in a show like Six, we don't stop the show. And
Yeah.
there's no intermission, there's no breaks.
Yeah.
And I found out during right at the end of Heart of Stone. So they were about to go into House of Holbein, which is like, I don't know, maybe a 5 minute number. And they wanted me to be ready to walk on stage by the beginning of Get Down, which is the next number after House of Holbein. So I maybe had like 8 minutes because there's a little scene in there. So I had 8 minutes to get from this, like normal, no makeup, nothing, to slick back pony, pink makeup, full costume. And it happened and it was fine. I mean, granted, by the end of the show, I think my ponytail had like slid down my neck because we only had time to put like 3 pins in, but it happened. We made it through and I didn't say any of the other Queen's lines,
Wow.
which is
Super
great.
brave though.
That was a crazy one for sure.
Wow. And then, as we said, you then played Katherine Howard in the 2025-2026 North American Berlin Tour. So, after having the experience of covering three different queens, what was it like to return back to Howard, because that is the queen that you started with, and step into the role as your own once again?
That it like makes me emotional thinking about it, honestly, because I truly thought in June that I was finished with six. Because I don't know, sometimes it's good to just like accept, I was like, okay, that chapter for me is closed. I have so much love for it. I hope that I get to do it again, but I'm not gonna, I need to like on to the next. I need to rest. I need to get back home. I need to get to the city. And it had been almost a year since the last time I had even like swung on as Howard. And I get a call from our company manager on the road. And I mean, I kind of just thought she was calling to catch up. I didn't think anything of it. And she was like, "Would you ever be interested in coming out and filling in as Howard on the tour?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, of course." And she was like, "What's your availability like?" And I was like, "No, I'm super open. I'm open all this month, blah, blah, blah." And she was like, "Okay, well, what about tomorrow?" And so it was like maybe afternoon, mid-afternoon, and they wanted me to fly out the next morning at like, I think my flight was something ridiculous, like 5 or 6 a.m. And they were in Atlanta, Georgia at the time. And so I did. I packed all my stuff up. I flew out. I went to Atlanta, and I was very, very surprised by how much came back as soon as I like just stepped on the deck and had my microphone and had the skirt on. And because when I was flying to Atlanta, I was like, I don't know if was getting out all my notes. I've never gotten rid of anything in my life. So luckily I had all of my notes written down. I was like looking at them on the flight over, and it went great. And even then I just thought that was going to be for the weekend. They just needed some extra coverage. So I did it through the weekend, and that I was thrilled about. That was amazing. I was so happy to do Howard again. And then I went home, and probably halfway through that week, they were like, "Hey, could you actually come back? We need you for another week and a half. And then we're all going to go on a layoff. So we'll like figure out what the plan is going to be." So I came back out for another week and a half. So it just kept built. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is great. I'll just keep taking what I can get." I love my time with that show. And then they took a break, and finally they asked me to just come out and finish out the tour for the next like 2 months or so. Um, and yeah, I mean, it was so full circle for me. I love that role. Like I told you before, it was my first big role. I learned so much from her. I identify with her a lot anyway. I love that song. And with the amount of times I'd done it on the cruise and then covering, and then now this, she just felt it was just in my body. She wasn't like a role that I really needed to worry if it was there or worry if it was gonna, became very second nature to me. And I just, which meant that I just got to have a fun time with it, which you don't get to really do as an alternate. You have to make sure you're on the right mark and you're not messing up anyone else's show. So it was such a treat to get to return to a part that I loved so much and be able to like cherish every moment. And a lot of my friends from the tour the last time were there, and there were a lot of new faces that I didn't know, and I'm really good friends with them now too. And it was just such an amazing experience. I like couldn't be more grateful that they asked me to come out and do that. So it's never over. You can never say never in this business. You never know when you might get a call.
Yeah. I mean, there are truly like no words to describe the journey that you had with that show. Like, what a beautiful whirlwind. And like to get to start and finish with Howard and to get to have a couple other queens kind of come into your life along the way. But it's so special, like you said, when you step into a character's shoes for so long, they become a part of you. And it's
Mhm.
just, you never know when they're going to come knocking on
Yeah.
your door again. You never know. Oh, so, do you have some highlight moments from your time with Six the Musical that you'd be okay to share?
My gosh, of course. Um, I mean, I've kind of touched on Hawaii was amazing. We were in Hawaii for almost a month with Six, and I got to there was like this iHeartRadio performance they were having, and I got to fill in as Seymour for that, which I really, really loved Seymour. I loved doing that track. I loved that song. And that was a really special day. I got to sing Heart of Stone. Granted, it was at like 7 in the morning, which no one sing that song that early, but but it was fun. And my debut was really special. I think I debuted in Boston actually. So not too far.
Yeah.
I made my debut in the tour as Howard, and it was just a magical day. I remember I got the call really early, which I was thrilled about. So I had so much time to prepare. And yeah, I have so many videos of my bow. And like you said, looking out into the audience, seeing all those smiling faces. I had a family member living in Boston that was able to come, and seeing her after the
Yay.
show was just really special. And I've dreamed about, I mean, my first live theater uh, experience was, like I said, on a national tour of Wicked. And so I've dreamed about being on a national tour my whole life. I mean, we like it's it's the dream. And to do a show like Six, it was so wonderful. I was so grateful that that debut performance, I was just so joyous. And my dance captain is one of my really good friends on that show. Her name's Haley, and she was just such an amazing resource, and getting to like celebrate that with her was so amazing. So that's a really fond memory for me. Um, and honestly, probably that first night in Atlanta, this past time going on. Um, I think finishing the show after not doing it for so long and getting through it without, I really didn't make any significant mistakes. I maybe was on like one wrong mark or something, but
My
that's
queen.
holding it down. So finishing that out, like, and being back with people I love so much. And I love that crew. Like, the management team is so amazing. And so being back out there after so long and doing something that I didn't even know if I could do it. I didn't know if I would remember it all. I didn't know how it would go. So I was just really proud of myself for that. And in Atlanta, it's the Fox Theater, which is like this huge historic.
Gorgeous
Oh
venue.
my God. Yeah, it is beautiful. But so being there was amazing. So
What beautiful memories from that time, and reflecting on your incredible journey with Six, what has your time with the show kind of taught you about yourself as a performer and as a person, and what lessons do you carry with you from your time with the Queendom?
I love the queendom. Um, that's a good question. I think the biggest thing it taught me is to just not like, I think I underestimated myself a little bit. I think I didn't think I was going to be able to be. I'd never swung before I did Six. So I didn't know how that was going to go. And I think I needed to just have more faith in myself. And I think that experience taught me that. I think it taught me that, you know, if you work hard enough, if you put in the time, if you put in the work, there really isn't anything you can't achieve. And so that was amazing just for my mental, like, stamina, like how much I could remember, how much I could go through in the process. And being able to not do a track for a couple of months and just hop right back into it, or maybe not do it for a year and just hop right back into it. And um, I think I truly think everyone should swing in their career. I think you learn so much from it. And like you said, like, the swings are really the backbone of the industry. So I think I'm very grateful for that time. I also think I learned a little something from all of my queens. They're all so different. Like, um, Howard is super spunky, super confident. She gave me a lot of that, like, fiery energy. A lot, I mean, honestly, a lot of my Howard reminds me of what I've been bringing to Mean Girls here. And Seymour is so loving and caring and is a very loyal person. And then you have Parr, who's got this really quiet confidence, and she's just like ready to lead. And I think I will always carry something from all of my queens and just from all the people I met. Six brings together really, like, they're really good at finding amazing people and performers. So the friends that I've made through the company of Six, through all the companies of Six that I've worked on, that I'll always be so great. I still talk to all of those people, and I probably will always. And yeah, that show is really, like, it's been my whole life for the last 3 years, truthfully. So I'm very grateful for it.
It is such a special show, just like music wise and like the lessons that it teaches you, but also getting to see six beautiful, powerful women on stage. Like that was just life-changing for me, just sitting in the audience and just being like, wow, it is so, so special. And like you said, everyone is so sweet, both on stage and off. And anytime I get to see that show is just such a treat. There's like a special place in my heart
Absolutely.
for that
Because
show.
you don't see that. You don't get to see six female leads in a show like that. And they're all placed equally. No, it really is beautiful. And I think it's beautiful for women to get to see that, for young women, and I think it's really special. So I love that
Like
you feel that way too.
that show is such a fun time. Like I love when everyone gets to get up on their feet at the
Yeah.
end, just have the best time. Like it feels like a celebration of theater. And I feel like
Mm.
that show, like even just the whole show, but like Curtain Call itself, like the mega mix, it reminds me why I fell in love with theater. And everyone's just
Mhm.
up on their feet, dancing, having a good time. And like there's nothing else like that in theater. It's so, so special. Oh, so I am so excited to dive in to your film debut because alongside being a shining star on stage, you also made your feature film debut as Katie in It Ends With Us. So can you share a little bit about your journey with the film from your audition process to when it premiered and what it was like stepping into the world of film for the first time with this iconic and beloved book?
Like you said, I also loved this book. I was a big fan of Colleen Hoover. I'd read some of her other books. Like I loved Verity, which I know is about to come out this year, and I read It Ends With Us. I thought it was amazing. And I remember seeing they were having an open casting call for young Lily, so the young Blake Lively part. And I sent it to my manager at the time, and I was like, I love this book. I want to audition for this movie. Like, can you help me put this together? And she was very sweet. She was like, yeah, I can definitely help you. I don't really think you look anything like Lively, but we can like put a like video together. We can send it off, whatever. And so we did, and I like got my tapes ready. I did the scenes, whatnot, and I sent it off. And this time, the just timeline wise, was right in between. I moved to the city in January of 2023. I think I did my tape for It Ends With Us, the first one, in maybe like February or March, right after my six audition. And so yeah, all of this is happening before I got on board the boat. Um, and so I sent off my video. I'm working at Lululemon in New York City on like Fifth Ave during the day.
Queen, queen.
And I think, or wait, not even yet. I went home to visit my mom, and while I was home, I got a call that they wanted me to tape for Katie for the Mean Girl. So I guess I have been a Mean Girl before, very briefly. And my manager was like, "Can you put this little scene on tape?" It was like two scenes, I think, that I had to do. And so I filmed them when I was home. I actually had lost my voice, which I don't really, knock on wood, but I don't really lose my voice. And so I had nothing, really nothing. Like I was just squeaking out. But I did the scenes, and my manager was like, she has laryngitis, but like you know what she sounded like in her first tapes. So I assumed, I was like, oh, there's really no shot that I'm gonna get this now. Cause I mean I couldn't speak. um, and then I was working at Lululemon, and I'd gotten back to the city from being home with my mom. And I got a call from my manager, and I had my phone out on the floor with me, and I was like, oh no, I really shouldn't answer this. I'm working. And she like kept calling, which is not really like her. And so I was like, I just need to go, I need to step away. And so I stepped away and called, and she was like, you told me that I got it. So it was a really quick audition process. And for something like this was my first time working like in film at all. So I didn't know what that process was going to be like at all. So I was just shocked. I was really shocked. And like I said, I didn't think I was going to get it whatsoever. And I found out that spring. I think we filmed in like May or June of that summer. And then I got on the boat in July. But it was sweet. I remember having my fittings in New York. And it was all very like 2010s. I was in a lot of like skinny jeans and which I don't need to wear a skinny jean again. But the costumes were so fun. And we shot in New Jersey. I really only ended up actually being like on set, I think for like one full day. But I mean, when you're filming, I was up at like 4 a.m. to get picked up and then went to the trailers, got ready. I don't think I got home until like honestly probably 4 a.m. again because we filmed all night and it was like thunderstorming when we were filming and we were filming outside in a bus. So anytime it would start storming, we would need to like go inside and wait it out and then we would come back out and it was like still kind of sunny. It was a weird day for weather. So when we would get back on the bus, it was humid from the rain and the heat. It was a long day. But like I said, like Justin Baldoni, he was so kind. He created such a good vibe in there. And yeah, I vividly remember that day. It was so much fun. I'd never gotten to be in a trailer like that before. I got my hair done and my makeup done. It was so much fun. I would really love to do more film and TV work. I had the best time on that set.
Yeah, and what was that like for you as an actor, for doing theater for so long and then all of a sudden there's like a camera in your face? Like it's such a crazy kind of change that I feel like not a lot of actors get to experience when you kind of step into and get the best of both worlds. What was that experience like for you getting to do film for the first time?
It is so different from theater in like every possible way. And I think now that I know that, I think I really would be able to like set myself up for success the next time. But it's so fast paced. You get set up. I mean, even before then, when you're in your trailer, getting your hair and makeup done, they have stand-ins. So they're setting the scene with them before you even come out. So truly, as soon as you're ready, you slot on to our bus in our case and you slot onto the bus and they just get the cameras out and start rolling almost instantly. I think we like talked through the scene maybe like once, but it's not like you have rehearsals, so we talked through it and then they put us out there and it's really just on you to go. And um, we filmed that scene a lot. I mean, and originally we had done like a couple different scenes and a couple different lines, and not a lot of it ended up making it into the final cut. But we were lapping around this neighborhood in New Jersey, and we would hit like speed bumps and things, and we someone would be in the middle of the line, we'd hit a speed bump, and it would be like, okay, we got to turn around, we got to start this over, and um, you just really have to be locked in. There's not a lot of room for error. You have to be really, really super prepared. And that's exciting because I think there's so much like spontaneity and freshness that can come from just like immersing yourself into a situation and then rolling with it, which I think is what you're kind of doing in a film setting, as opposed to theater where it's like, no, we're gonna rehearse this and like get it perfectly and grind this out, and then you'll just do it 8 times a week and it'll be this well-oiled machine. And I think with film, they want it to feel a little bit more, I mean, just like, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, but I mean, maybe spontaneity was right. I said that already, but they want it to feel really spontaneous and fresh and yeah, it was a blast. It really was. I was sad to only be there for one day, truthfully. I would have loved to be there longer, but I learned a lot.
It's Yeah, it's such a different type of magic. And like you
Mhm.
said, you learn so much when you kind of get to step into both those worlds and put those different hats on and just kind of learn how theater and how TV and film is a well-oiled machine in two completely different ways. Like it's such a cool experience to get to kind of get a glimpse into both those worlds. Wow. It's incredible like thinking about that. Wow. So I'm so excited to chat about this because you are currently portraying the role of Regina George in Mean Girls at the Cape Playhouse. So what was your reaction when you found out you'd be playing Regina in Mean Girls at the Cape Playhouse? Such an iconic role, an iconic venue. How does that feel?
Oh my, well, yeah, this venue, I knew it was iconic. I'd heard from my friends how historic it is, how many incredible people have worked here. Like this place, it speaks for itself, and I'd heard about it. But actually being at this theater and being on the Cape, it's so beautiful here. And there are so many ghosts in that place. We talk about it all the time. But even in our dressing room, there's this picture of like Julie Andrews hanging on the wall in our
Yes.
exact seats, and it's just so special to be working there. So it's been a dream. And then when I found out I was Regina, I never would have pegged myself as a Regina. I remember when, so again, coming full circle, but Betty, who was my choreographer on Six on the cruise, she reached out to me about this audition and was like, "Oh, like I think you should audition for Regina." And I was kind of like, "Oh, I don't know, like I usually am in for Katie or maybe even like Gretchen, like I don't know, like the more like I said, the sweeter sort of girl next door kind of characters." And I was like, "I don't know, I don't think I would do Regina." And she was like, "I don't know, just like do it. I think you should just try it." And I kind of just put the materials on tape and was like, okay. And I had a blast taping them. The songs, I was like, wait, these are also, I remember loving the soundtrack when this show first came out. And so when I went to learn the stuff to do my tapes, I was like, oh, wait, I actually know a lot of this already. And so yeah, when I found out, I was thrilled, but mostly I was a little terrified because I have never played a part like Regina. I didn't really peg myself as a Regina. Um, so I was really worried about how I was going to find ways to connect to that. And I do think a lot of it, like I said, I found a lot of similarities between her and like Katherine Howard. And then just, I mean, I think Regina's a little more like vindictive, but yeah, I think I pulled from that. And I mean, I watched that movie like 100 times. I love Rachel McAdams, um and I think it's gonna go down as one of my favorite roles I've played, truthfully. But it's again, it's so nice to surprise yourself. It's so nice to be like, oh, I didn't think I could play this, but I not only can I do it, but I'm really enjoying it and it's really fun and this is a nice surprise. So
She is a big beast, but she is so much fun. Like,
Mhm.
even just watching people play this part, and like when you watch the movie or like the musical version of the movie, you're just like so enthralled by her. And like, I love her so much. Like, she doesn't do some nice things, but I love her so
Make
much.
some questionable decisions for
Uh,
sure.
And how did you prepare for stepping into such an iconic role while also kind of putting your own stamp on her?
Yeah, so like I said, this was a really fast process. So I think the Al Blackstone, our director, he was really wonderful about reaching out to us before things started and just wanted to make sure we were going into it like as prepared as we possibly could. So, I mean, I tried to be as off book as I could so that that was just one less thing to worry about once we got into the room and started working. I really tried not to watch the musical at all. For some reason, it felt better to me to watch the movie so that I wasn't like too directly. I mean, it's all the same material, but I really
Yeah.
was trying not to watch the musical so that I could try to mold my own Regina and not feel too influenced by anything. But I did really want to bring some bits of like the original movie and Rachel McAdams because I think the thing about her is she finds so much power in like the unassuming part. Like she really plays the like sweet, nice girl in the beginning of the movie. And that's really how she gets Katie in her grasp and then totally just flips it on its head. And she just has this aura. Like Al and I have talked so much about how stillness and like a quiet, calm confidence is actually so much more terrifying than this like loud, mean personality. Because that's not like she's a smart girl. And I mean, I think she has her own trauma and things that have made her the way that she is. But at the end of the day, she's a smart girl. She knows a lot about people. She's really emotionally intelligent. And so she knows how to manipulate situations to have them working in her favor at the end of the day. Um, and I mean, she's just a kid. She just wants to be liked, I think that's what the heart of this show is at the end of the day. They all just want to be liked. They all just want to fit in, and they'll do whatever it takes to make that happen. And um, so, yeah, I think for me, it was just finding ways to I just wanted her to have a lot of nuance. And I think a lot of the women that have played her in the past have done that. Like Taylor Louderman, like Renee Rapp, like this part has been played by such iconic women that have brought so much to it. So getting to find a way to like put my own little flair on it was really exciting and fun. But no, I mean God, no one could ever fill the shoes of of those iconic divas, but it's been
Yeah.
amazing.
It's so special to see like what my favorite thing about this show is how nuanced and multi-layered it is and
Mhm.
like how the beginning feels like a completely different show than where you're at the end because it's like what a journey you just went through and like we got some personality changes and you find out some things and I just love how multi-layered that is and I kind of want to dive into what playing Regina has taught you so far about yourself as a person and as a performer with everything that she kind of goes through.
Mhm. Gosh, I don't know what she's taught me about myself. I mean, I think the nice thing about her is this is probably the most separate I've ever felt from a role that I've played. Like when I get ready to do this show, it truly feels like I am like putting on a hat. I feel like a lot of the times, like when I was playing Sandy in Greece, for the most part, that just felt like I was like heightening how I feel as a person. I mean, we're still very different, but I could take a lot of experiences that I have had to kind of inform that kind of character. But Regina, I did really kind of have to like create an idea of this person and then like bring that with me every day. And that being said, I've never had to do so. I think that it's teaching me another way of performing, and I'm kind of a nervous performer, not in a this, that, or the other, but I just get a little nervous to perform. And with this show, I really haven't found that I'm getting as nervous as I usually do. And I think that's because I like can't because Regina wouldn't probably be nervous. Like that's out of character for her. So I think she's giving me a lot of confidence and funk and I think I'm also learning a lot about vocal stamina because not
Oh yeah.
I mean
She is
these
not an easy thing.
I mean all the women in
Yeah.
this show, like the Katie and the Janice, like every woman in the show is singing down. It's
Yes.
crazy. The vocals are crazy. But yeah, this Regina material is some of the hardest music I think I've ever had to perform. And not only is she like singing in the rafters, but I mean I actually have to scream in scenes, like it's just very vocally exhausting and um so I think I'm really having to learn how to navigate like an 8 show week with such a demanding show. So I'm learning a lot in that sense too.
Yeah, I want to go back to what you said before because I often think about it and I think it's the coolest thing when you're given a script and you kind of go through the material, you get to know the character and you're like, this is me. And then you'll have those times where you get the script and you're like, this is not me at all.
Yeah.
But like as much as I love the characters that like you see so much of yourself in and they give you such a great journey, it's those journeys and the characters that's like, this is nothing like me. And you learn so much about yourself by, like you said, kind of putting on that hat and just kind of getting ready to cruise for 8 shows a week. Like, it's the coolest thing when you kind of get to learn these new things and play these characters that you've never played before. So I'm so happy that you get to experience that. And I know you are just killing it.
Thank you.
So, do you have a favorite scene, song, and moment in the show that you look forward to performing each night?
Okay, the first one that pops into my mind is Apex Predator,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I don't even sing that song. It's sung by Janice and Katie, Tori and Lizzie. They're insane vocalists. They're so good. But the whole idea, I mean, Katie is from Africa, and in the movie we see it a lot where she's like envisioning that all these teenagers are like jungle creatures like tigers. And so Al has, and I mean, even in the original production, but it's the idea of this whole number is that we're looking at these high school students as if they're these like predators, these like jungle animals. And so Regina is this like lion. I love it so much. It is so much
Yeah.
fun. I have these little like pink sunglasses that I wear on my nose in the number, and I'm just like clawing. And I have a cat. I'm a mother to a sweet little cat, and so I've drawn a lot of inspiration
Oh,
from her, of course. But no, it's fun. I like. There's a moment where I'm like killing all of our ensemble members and I mean I've just never had to do that in a show.
oh
I'm like
yeah.
cleaning myself off like a cat and it's so silly and it's so fun and I'm trying to think of what else. The dancing in this show. I mean Al Blackstone, our director, he obviously has a huge dance background. He's incredible. But the dancers that he has in the show, I don't think I have ever worked with such incredible dancers. Like, and the way they've picked up material and watching them in that number specifically, it's so cool to watch. I'm like glad that I'm not singing because I'm able to like take it all in and really enjoy it. And that's my favorite moment for sure.
That's so awesome. And what is your favorite part about playing Regina and getting to tell the story each night?
I mean, I love singing her songs. World Burn in Act Two. I love that song.
Oh
And
yeah.
she is just there's she's not messing around. You know what I mean? Like there is nothing behind those eyes. That girl is coming to kill. And it's fun to just like sing that song and sprout your face off. And I'm like throwing papers everywhere. And then after that number to, I mean, not to spoil anything, but to have that arc for her and to have, to be hit by the bus and have to really sit with her thoughts and reflect on how she's been acting and have I think she has a really beautiful moment with Katie at the end of the show where they just both really see each other for who they are and they realize, we're more alike than anything else. And like I said earlier, these girls, I mean, life is so hard, but high school especially, like we all just want to be liked. We all just want to fit in. And I think Katie and Regina and Janice and Damien, like everyone, I think by the end of the show they realize, oh no, this is all a common, we all want the same thing. We're all just trying to get through it. And I think it's nice for me at the end of the show to know that Regina is like on her way out. She has this whole show of being a really, really nasty person. And so it makes me happy to know that she's like seeing the light and reflecting and like moving forward.
Yeah, I always love the end of the show because, like, with I See Stars, like you were saying, like, it teaches you the message that, like, everyone's a star, and although we are different, we all want the same thing. And I just think it ties such a beautiful bow on this roller coaster of a show. And your opening was earlier this week, so you're still really early into the run, which is crazy. So, what was the rehearsal process like leading up to opening? And then what was it finally like stepping onto the stage for your first performance yesterday? Was there a particular moment from opening that kind of stands out as a highlight?
Yeah, this rehearsal process is wild. We have 2 weeks of rehearsals in New York, and then we come to the Cape on our day off, or not even on our day off. We had a day off in the city. We traveled to the Cape that evening. We started tech, which was a pretty chill day of tech, I will say. It was mostly like a get to know you type of thing. And then, yeah, we have 2 days of tech total. Um, and then I want to say we had 3 previews. And then we opened yesterday and we had a preview for the matinee and then an opening performance in the evening. And our first preview, I don't even think we had run through the show in its entirety yet. We'd gotten pretty close, but we did not finish. And so we had an audience out there and none of us really knew how it was going to go. But from opening, I mean, I share a dressing room with my plastics and with Tori. So it's their names are Lav and Scarlett and Tori. And Tori plays Katie. And we love to like circle up before the show and we're starting to get into a routine and find our little moments that we need and we do some like deep breaths. We have our hugs and our little rituals and things. And I love those girls and I love like getting to start the show with them. It's so special. And then I get to end the show right next to all of them and giving hugs. And I know we all just ran off stage and like, it's just, I mean, it was so magical to finally feel like sometimes with these fast processes and not getting to run the show until you have an audience, it can kind of feel like the show is driving you instead of you driving the show. And I think our opening night performance was like the first time we really felt like, no, like we're behind the wheel, everything's okay. Like we can just start to have fun with it. And it's less of like, oh no, am I going to remember all these changes? Am I going to know, like, am I going to make this costume change? And it's starting to just get to be a fun experience. And like I said, yes, I love those girls that I'm with, but also this whole entire company is just amazing. And you mentioned I See Stars, but that's I think, a really beautiful moment in the show because we all just kind of slow down for a minute. Like there's not as much dancing. We're really just like focusing on each other and the audience and just trying to really hold that moment. So it was a really special night. It was a fun performance. And I'm excited to have more now that we like know what we're doing.
Yeah, no, that's the best feeling in the world. Like after
Mhm.
opening, you've had your previews, you've opened, you had a minute, and it's like, okay, like I love what you said about like we are driving it now. We are gonna drive this bus. Sorry, I had to. And we're just gonna
Yes.
it's gonna go and it's gonna go and it's gonna
Yeah.
be great. And you guys have had such an incredible couple shows so far, and I can't wait for the rest of the run. And to finish us off, looking back on everything you have achieved in this industry. What advice would you give your younger self entering the industry?
Oh my gosh, so much. I mean, the first thing that popped into my head is your path in this industry, everyone's is going to look different. And I think I've spent a lot of my time, especially when I was younger, like feeling like it needed to look a certain way. You know, I felt a little embarrassed that I didn't have my degree in musical theater, that I didn't finish school. I would look and see what other people were doing and be like, oh my gosh, I need to be doing that. And at the end of the day, no one's path is going to look the same. And everything that happens to you in this business, it happens for a reason. Like the right opportunities are not going to pass you by. Every no is just getting you one step closer to a yes because there are going to be a lot of no's. And I think it's learning to not take them personally and just knowing that it is a really specific business and so much more goes into it than just talent. And you have to really be a kind person. You have to bring so much more than just a work ethic and talent. Like you also just have to be a good person and you have to be someone that people want to keep working with. Because at the end of the day, like we're trying to create experiences for people, and you can't do that if you're not coming to it through joy and with love. And so yeah, I think that was a long-winded piece of advice, but I think what I really mean is to just trust yourself, trust your path, trust the universe, and have faith in yourself. Like I said, I was never a confident person, so I wish I could tell little Caroline that she just needs to like have some faith. um,
Caroline, thank you so much for joining me on the Inspiration Show. You have been such an inspiration of mine for so, so many years, and I'm just so in awe of you and your incredible talent. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to get to look up to you and watch you shine. It was such an honor to have you here. Thank you for inspiring me.
Thank you. You're amazing. This was so nice.